Hello, it's Smashley Brewer with another Sims 4 era house build. This time it is Greek Revival Part 1. These houses were built from 1825 to 1860 because Americans were excited about the new democracy, and so they built their houses after Greek temples with the large columns and pediment seeped into residential architecture. It was popularized through pattern books by Asher Benjamin and Menard Lefevre. I cannot pronounce that. But these houses were very decorative compared to some of the other houses that I said were pretty decorative. They're very symmetrical. So we'll get into the build. So as I said, the symmetry was kind of big still. You had this big block in the center, and then you had wings. And there were some more decorative. Some of these houses that I saw when I looked up floor plans were square. I decided to go with the big wings because it gave me more options for layout and kind of size. And also the picture that you saw at the beginning had the wings on the side. So I went with that. Two floor as usual. And the roof for this was pretty easy. Most of my build went to messing with the pillars and trying to figure out the decoration for the crowning. Unfortunately, I could not do the same crowning that I could have used if I had double wall height. You'll see why. The biggest issue was the pillars do not extend past the height of two small walls. And so you kind of just have to choose one or the other. And obviously, the pillars being so important, I kind of improvised. Now, here I'm selecting from the different pillars. My biggest issue with these pillars is they look so small and thin. Like, they look like pencils compared to the rest. Like, if you look at the original picture, like, these were wide pillars. Like, compared to everything else. Now, I probably could have made the width of the main wing smaller, but that would make the inside very condensed, and I wanted these big wraparound staircases, and you'll see how much that takes and how much space that takes. This build in general had a very awkward floor plan layout. Looking at floor plans on Google and like the different layouts that they had, it wasn't as feasible in The Sims that I would have liked. So I kind of had to do with what the best I could. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I can always talk about The Sims for. I've actually had to re-record this piece 3 times over because there was like lag when the video and overlay, and I the last recording I went a big rant on The Sims 3 versus Sims 4, and I'm not gonna do that because it was much. Um, and I probably will rant about it again sometime in one of my future videos because I have so many issues. Again, I understand why, but I understand why The Sims 4 seems less than The Sims 3 because computers can't handle much yet. Sims 3 was ahead of its time. Let's be real. Still waiting on Sims 5. Make it as good as Sims 3. I don't know. But yeah, so you're gonna see me improvise a lot. Here you're gonna see me messing with like the different options. This little section took a lot, and it took a lot of the video, and I don't know. It was a struggle, a major struggle, especially like you saw how that roof just like, oh, you know what? By the way, your pillars are now short again. It's like, I didn't want that. Having to put those like banners, I think they're called spandrels. Maybe I finally said that right. We'll see. I'll tell you next video. Um, I even hovered over them when I was in game to see what it was called. But putting those in and having to put them in, like having to have like a fence or a wall there first, and then you have to delete the fence or wall, is a pain. So here I'm trying to mess with trying to put the crowning in and then noticing that the pillars will not go taller. So it's like, all right, that's annoying. I haven't tried to use any cheats to see if I could like building cheats to see if I could get around that. I haven't tried to use the size up, like object size up kind of thing, like the bracket. But we'll see. I'll do some testing in maybe my next build. Let me see. I have the stuff pulled up, but I don't really have many pillars in the next build, and the pillars that are in the next build, I don't even know if I'll be able to replicate that. but we'll see. So this build is mostly the outside decor. I actually did a lot of landscaping for this because if you notice in the original picture, there's a lot of greenery. And I wanted to kind of replicate this big, elegant house. Because Greek Revival houses often were big and elegant. So you'll see that. And then the next video, I actually go through furnishing. I do believe that I changed the room layouts a couple of times because I had these big, awkward hallways and I didn't know what to do with it. So I kind of just had to make do with what I had. There's that like little line there. It goes away after a while, but it being there annoyed me and I had to just like, it's gonna go away. It's just a glitch. Like it'll go away. Like you'll see me like try and figure out, okay, why is it still there? I don't think it's there in the end. If you want to download this build, it is up on the Sims 4 gallery. On Smashly Brew, same as my YouTube name. On the Sims 4 gallery, I have a bunch of houses. All of these builds go right up. That's why I don't download CC and use CC on these builds, is because I don't want people to have to download CC. Some people don't want to mess with their downloads and they want to keep everything with the actual game. The only issue is if you don't own every stuff pack, you're not going to be able to use the builds as well. Like, I don't really know what happens if you download houses without having all the content. I don't know if it replaces it or it just, there's like a blank thing there. But yeah, I use every single, I wouldn't say I use every single stuff pack every single time. I mean, when you go to the Sims 4 gallery, it will show you what packs the houses use. I should try and do a build where I only use like base game and this stuff pack, base game and this stuff pack. That could probably be a series. So then if you have only this pack or that pack or this pack or that pack, there's some work we can do with it. So I don't know. I'll see what I like. I have this. I want to get back into renovating base game houses. I used to do that with my old channel, which I no longer use that channel. I was more connected with my streaming, which I no longer do because it came more about the likes than it was about like actually doing things that I enjoyed. With these videos, I don't care if people watch it or not. It's there. I don't know if anybody's going to ever watch these videos. And if you are, thanks. Like, subscribe, comment, tell me how to make this better. Tell me how to make me less annoying so you will watch me more. Yeah, so I don't know. I used to do that on my old YouTube channel where I would go into base game houses and completely renovate them and make them look cooler. And I actually have those built up on my gallery, and you can download those renovated houses. In fact, I have a few downloads on some of those renovated houses. Not much. I don't think any of my houses have over like 25 downloads, but it's still cool. I have 25 downloads. Like, I'm excited. But yeah. So problem with these stairs is it like if you drag that across, it gets rid of all the pillars. So I end up like pulling them forward and then just, yeah, doing that. Don't know why it does that. It's dumb that it does that, but you make do with what you got, I guess. Sims 4, why aren't you a better game? Why aren't you like Sims 3? It's fun. It's a good game. It could have been worse. It was horrible at release. Like, the game had nothing. Like, it's like, why would I play this? I'm going to go back to Sims 3. And then they added a lot to the game, I will say. Like, there were like, I would say like 4 years that I did not play anything Sims related because I was just so disgusted by Sims 4. Couldn't run everything in Sims 3 even though I own all the packs. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break from the Sims. EA, I'm mad at you. And then I got back into it and I realized they really did work. And it's like not just like the pack stuff, but like the base game stuff. So I'll give EA that. Still waiting on Sims 5. We'll see whenever that comes out, but it could be like Skyrim and all those other games where it 10 years later and they're re-releasing the game again. I'm a big Elder Scroll fan, so you can imagine how irritated I am with that. Like, Oblivion's my favorite game, Skyrim's meh. Like Skyrim, my experience with Skyrim in the recent years is download Skyrim, mod the heck of Skyrim, try to make a pretty character, get bored of Skyrim within 2 days. And that's my experience. Though I did play the Enderall mod, which you get free through Steam. That game was amazing. So here I am, like, messing with different ideas for this, like, big grand staircase. And I felt like this was too plain. So what I first want to do is have the staircase conjoined and then split in half. The issue was the width of the door is 3. And you can't split 3 into 2 separate ways. You can do that with 4, but you can't do it with 3. So originally that's what my idea was to do, is that big, like, grand staircase going up in 2 different directions. And it just wasn't it. Like, this itself was boring, and I did not want to do that either. So I googled some floor plans, and I noticed that the Greek Revival houses had these round staircases, and then, like, in the center, like, it was a big foyer, and they're round, and you'll see kind of how I do it. Obviously it's not round, it's more square, because you can't make round staircases in The Sims 4, which is understandable. It'd be kind of, like, obnoxious. But I made do, and it worked. So this is what you get. Trying to get it to be perfectly identical was kind of rough, because as you can see, I needed to, like, have that heightened, and it wasn't letting me heighten it. And then, yeah, it was a whole ordeal getting this to match perfectly with the other staircase. But in the end, I got it. So there we go, the staircase. And now that I understand how to make these rooms kind of separate so I can delete, makes it 10 times better. Super happy about that, because it took me forever to actually learn that. Now, I wanted the stone fencing here because I thought it would match the staircase and the whole, like, pillar idea. I didn't use any pillars on the inside of the house, and I think if I were to go back and change this build, I probably would, by adding pillars. So here I am, kind of getting a rough layout for the upstairs. It was much easier to get the stairs laid out, and I noticed, bear with me on the windows being lined up. Like, I think I changed the windows like a million times to get them actually lined up. I just kind of threw them on there without actually making sure that they were, like, symmetrical and, like, placed right. Especially the windows on the wings. You won't see those fixed until, like, the middle end of the last build, or the next video. So after getting the layout of these, I kind of decided that I wanted to kind of extend this hallway to the sides, because I was like, all right, where am I going to put the bathrooms? And so I ended up putting the bathrooms here and kind of having the hallway kind of closed off. This makes it so that on the first floor, I can kind of close off those rooms and them not be like this big part of the big large foyer, and it fits better with the layout of the house. So using these big fancy doors, I think the most common style I used in this entire build was the Queen Anne style. And I wanted to kind of go with the big elegance that I would imagine in this house. I wish I could go back and kind of work with, like, look at, like, okay, what was Greek Revival furniture? What was this furniture used during this time? But I've said it before, and I'll probably say it again. The items in Sims 4 is limited, and I'd get to a point where I'm doing one of these builds and I have nothing. And it's like, all right, what am I going to furnish the inside of this house with? So you get what you get. This is the best I'm going to do. I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can. All right? I'm doing the best I can. So trying to decide how I was going to do this big archway. I wanted this to... I was originally going to make that room the living room, and then it was just too awkward shape. I mess with, like, the shape of this area a million times. And I think as I get to the end of this video, it's kind of roughly laid out. And then I end up, like, being like, you know what? I'm going to call it here. And then the next video, I'll deal with it. Because I wanted to figure out where the bathroom was going to go. Because I always like to have one bath, like a half bath on the first floor. And then you need your kitchen, your dining room. I don't always have a dining room. I don't think my log cabin had its own dining room, because it was a very small build. Like, the log cabins were some of the first kind of builds that you see. So I end up not doing a dining room in that build, but I think most of the other houses did have, like, its own separate dining room. If it might have had, like, a kitchen table, but most of them at least had a dining room table. This layout you see on this first floor, again, is not the final layout because I do change it when I start actually putting furniture in there. The archways are not the same. It just, there's a lot of messing around with what I do with this build. So you'll see it more in the next video than this one. And yeah, again, there was a lot. I think that part ends up being pretty much the same. This ends up being the dining room, you'll see. And then the kitchen ends up being in that area. I was setting up this room because I knew that that's where I decided I was going to have the kitchen. So that's why I took out one of those archways, put it all the way to the left, so that I had room for, like, you know, the kitchen cabinets and all that kind of stuff, the fridge. And then the bathroom does stay there. And then I think I did kind of just paint all the walls white, and then I go in and change it in the future. I liked putting in these very decorative walls, and I think I changed some of the colors because I felt like it was just all too yellow. They don't have enough colors. You know, it's not like The Sims 3 where you can change the color of literally everything because, I don't know. I heavily believe that Sims 3 is better than 4. Like, and I understand that Sims 4 can't be as good as Sims 3, and I understand why Sims 3 is actually really bad, but you're always going to hear me complain about it. Always. Every video. If I don't complain about a video, I want to see a comment saying, like, what's wrong with you? You didn't complain about how The Sims 4 is not as good as The Sims 3. But yeah, I end up messing around with these wallpaper for a while, and I end up changing it again in the next build as I start putting furniture in. The flooring, I end up doing like a marbling and then thinking, okay, that's way too bright. But I don't know. Like, my instinct is to go completely black and white with coloring because, I don't know, that's my aesthetic. But it doesn't fit for everything. So, I don't know. We get yellow and white. And then with Queen Hand, I know that, like, the bright colors, like, I don't know. I like black and white so much better because I like the contrast. I like the clean look that black and white gives, but it's, again, not very common for everyone. I don't know. That's probably one area that I could definitely improve on my builds is, like, knowing the right piece of furniture to put and the right colors to put because I'll end up always putting like the same colors. And I really try and push my comfort zone on that. It's like, I don't know if I'd ever have this, but I guess it works. But yeah, here I am putting that. I'm putting carpet in all the rooms. I end up changing the color of the carpet. I end up changing the color of the walls. You'll see more in the next video. So make sure to see it on my YouTube tomorrow. So I think here I start doing more of the exterior. I do a lot of decoration. Here I am doing the improvising of like that big crowning. Again, you'll see me do the cheats so that I could kind of put things on top of each other. I don't know. I mess around with this. I think it gives you some decoration. Would I like more than this? Hell yeah. Would I like to have the crowning that you could use if you had taller walls? That would be so much better. But you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, I guess. I'm probably going to look into cheats to be able to use more of what I would like. Especially like the pillars, making them bigger or making them taller than the two small wall lengths. But I don't know. Kind of make do with what you got. So I was messing to see with some of these things. Like that circular staircase would have been perfect if something like that existed for, like, I don't know, regular stuff and not just decoration. So I put this kind of rounded road here. And then I put a lot of greenery around it. And I end up putting a small pond, so you'll see that. I'm actually pretty pleased with how much work I did put into the landscaping. I feel like some of my builds I lack on it because I could take forever on landscaping. I don't know. There's a lot that I could just sit there and just do forever. And I want to make sure that these videos stay under 30 minutes because listening to my voice for 30 minutes, like, who wants to do that? I know my husband sure doesn't. He's huffing and puffing that he can't talk while I'm recording this video right now. But yeah, I feel like I use too much of the same like plants in every single build because, as I say, every single time you'll always hear me say it, and at some point somebody's gonna be like, "We get it, Ashley. We get it. We get it." There's not enough plants. There's not enough windows. Sims 3, Sims 4. Oh my god. I found out you could flood your place. Like, did you see that? Like, it was like overfilled. But yeah, so I like this little decoration here. It's not in the original picture, but I felt like it added more to it. Put some dirt in under the plants because it's not going to be all perfect green grass. Um, I was really pleased with how that little piece turned out. I end up adding more, I believe, in the next video, and then I ended up adding a lot. Like the greenery that you'll see at the end of this video is a lot. I end up adding even more to kind of fill out the yard because I don't feel like these houses really had like a patio or like backyard that you would see in a lot of like more modern style houses and like developments because we want that backyard for our kids to play in or for like barbecues, and like these houses didn't really have that. They just had a lot of greenery because they don't feel like people really did much outside. Like, I mean, they did, but like if you live in this big elegant house, like what are you going to do? Like you usually have like, I don't know, people to work on your garden, and I don't know. I don't know. I probably could do more history on like when backyards were made more common or like something like that. That would be kind of an interesting little thing for me to look up. Write that down for the next video. No. So I actually, some of the YouTubers that I watch kind of give me inspiration on how to better like do landscaping. Like I used to like not even mess with it. And so like the inside of the house would look cool, the shape of the house would look cool, but it looked really empty because I didn't have that extra step of terrain painting or I don't know, putting plants in and stuff like that. And so when I was starting to watch other YouTubers, I kind of got like, oh, that's a really cool way to apply that. And then I kind of adapted it to my own. So the stuff I say, I'm like, I don't think I'd ever use that plant. There are some plants that I look at, I'm like, when would I ever use this plant? And then watch me use it at some future time. Like I think a lot of these builds, you'll notice these houses are more to the New England style and kind of the colonies and how they were styled. I might do something more on the California designs, some inspired from like European designs. I know with some of the Sims pack, we can go with more of the like styles from Asia. But I don't really know how I could use that as much. I don't know. It might be some ideas. I don't know if you watch these videos and you would like to see certain kind of ideas with types of builds. Let me know. So as I come close to finishing this exterior and adding this plant life in, I kind of finish up the build and I take a pause there, and the next video will be more furnishing, adding more greenery to the back side of the house, and so on. Again, as I said before, you can get this build on the Smashly Brewer Gallery on the Sims 4 gallery. I'm being redundant, but I don't know. I think I can be very redundant. Cough my comments about how much the Sims 4 lacks. But anyway, thank you for watching, and please make sure to like and comment how I can make these videos better. Thank you.